The devastating legacy of the Lord's Resistance Army era war in northern Uganda left an incredible mark on Acholi people who continue to grapple with physical scars, emotional trauma, and loss of hope for a brighter future.
The LRA got me on the way when I'm just going to the garden.
Meet Ocheng Albert, a 38-year-old survivor from Aloi village, Lukwangole Parish, Patongo Sub-County in Akago District. His harrowing experience during the Lord's Resistance Army LRA war is a heart-wrenching tale of agony, trauma, and resilience.
Even my face, even my body part was being cut off by a LRA rebel. I was being abducted in 2002. By that time, I was just going to the garden.
As Ocheng Albert recounts the horrific events that led to the loss of both of his hands, his eyes well up with tears and his voice cracks with emotion. It was on March 4th, 2002 that Ocheng Albert's life took a devastating turn. On that fateful day, he was forcefully abducted from his home village of Aloi in what's now Agago district by the ruthless Lord's Resistance Army LRA rebels.
The wife of my brother, she was pregnant with the firstborn. Then they abducted me on the nearby road. Then they left the wife of my brother. Then they took me to the bush. They give me the luggage show that I carried. They abducted me very early in the morning at around 9 there. Then they took me to the bush, the deep, which even not near even the center people living. They give me the very heavy luggage. I carry it, where we saw so many LRA members, which they are there stay in the bush. When we reach the place called Ayuela Bush, we stay there. At night, they start taking us where we supposed to sleep.
At just 14 years old, Ocheng Albert was brutally abducted by the Lord's Resistance Army LRA rebels. He endured unimaginable physical brutality, suffering devastating injuries. He lost both hands, his ears, and part of his upper mouth, forever changing the course of his life. The painful memories of that fateful day still linger, etched in his mind like a scar.
They start asking me several questions which I don't even know. At that night, they removed me from that side. Then they took me to another people which they abducted. I slept there at night. The following morning, when we wake up in the morning, she started tightening me seriously with 2 legs also tied, with a very tight rope, even behind. My finger even tied behind here. Say that, sit down. That one is around 11 p.m. in the morning.
March 5th, 2002 marked the beginning of a never-ending nightmare for Ocheng Albert. For years, he struggled to come to terms with the traumatic events of the past, his mind haunted by the memories of brutality and loss.
Cut all of his leg, cut all of his finger, cut of about 2 years, even all two, even the mouth, you just cut all of them. And he said, those soldiers, they said that this man, we don't want to cut his leg, because if we cut his leg, he can even not move. Let us cut his finger, and then the mouth, then the ear. Then they cut me, and they leave me there, and start moving slowly. You just remember, they leave me by around 12 p.m. on the afternoon. I start moving slowly. I fell down when I'm too much bleeding.
TPO Uganda, in partnership with Trust Fund for Victims, have aided a project that is on rehabilitation, rehabilitating victims in order to foster development amongst the people in northern Uganda. So the project has majorly focused on 4 major objectives. The first objective was to ensure access to physical rehabilitation.
Transcultural Psychosocial Organization TPO Uganda, and generously funded by the Trust Fund for Victims, has been a lifeline for survivors like Ocheng Albert.
Has been majorly targeting war victims, the victims that suffered the LRA atrocities. And we all know that the conflict between the LRA and the Ugandan government lasted for over 2 decades. And this war caused immense suffering and displacement among the people in northern Uganda. And you'll notice that this forced people to end up in camps, internally displaced persons, to live as internally displaced persons, where people ended up in camps.
But in 2018, he finally found a solace in mental health support provided by TPO Uganda, an organization dedicated to helping survivors of conflict heal and rebuild their lives.
I'm a clinical psychologist working for TPO Uganda, and I've been supporting the project that has been running here for over 6 years. As a psychologist, I offer technical support to the team that offers psychosocial assistance to the war victims, and we operate in an ISAC pyramid whereby most of the clients are reviewed from the lower level, and those clients with critical cases are the ones that are given advanced care.
Thanks to the integrated physical and psychological rehabilitation assistance to war victims in northern Uganda project, Ocheng Albert has finally found a sense of solace and hope.
Your organization TPO came to our place. They got me. By that time, I'm just fearing stay with some people. I'm just fearing stay with my friend because I'm keep hiding myself from.
This vital initiative has provided him with comprehensive support, addressing both his physical and emotional needs, and empowering him to rebuild his life after years of trauma and struggle.
You realize that this project has been able to reach a total number of 18,291 war victims. Those were the direct victims that the project has closely worked with.
The integrated physical and psychological rehabilitation assistance to war victims in northern Uganda project, implemented by TPO Uganda, generously funded by Trust Fund for Victims, has been a lifeline for survivors like Ocheng Albert.
Worked in partnership with the government facilities, that is Gulu Regional Referral Hospital, Lira Regional Referral Hospital, to support to rehabilitate victims physically, those that were physically affected, say for example victims that had bullet remains, those that had injuries. So basically TPO has been at the forefront of identifying these victims together with the community support structures and bringing them to the hospital, where we've had some of them as you listen to some of the stories from the victims.
This vital initiative provides comprehensive support, addressing the complex need of those affected by the conflict and promoting their recovery, dignity, and reintegration into their communities. Haruna Mutesasira, UBC News.